I'd like to share an email with you I received a couple months ago. Someone was having a problem with a contractor, and I thought this would actually be useful for anyone who has dealt with a contractor before and might have had a problem, someone who has not dealt with a contractor ever, or someone who has dealt with a contractor and never had a problem. That covers everything. Okay. The reason why I'm saying that is because you might have dealt with a contractor in the past and everything went smoothly, but you didn't have everything written down on a contract, and that's what this is all about. The individual sent me the email. Sounded like they had some type of a problem with an insurance adjuster. They hired a contractor. The contractor had a AAA rating on their on the website from one of these companies. I can't name any names. You know, you go to these internet websites where these people are, you know, they have 5-star ratings and everybody's praising them and how great they are. This doesn't necessarily translate into a happy experience all the time. That should be the first thing that I need to say here. You can't get caught up in everything that you hear. Now, I've even dealt with contractors who other contractors or homeowners have said, these guys are the best. Hey, no problem. Had problems with them. So don't get carried away with that. That's the first point I'd like to make. The second point is that you need to have everything in writing. Everything needs to be written down. If they're going to replace a window, make sure that you have the manufacturer of the window size and type, everything, all the information you can possibly get. And as a contractor, you should know this. You should be giving them the information. If you order the windows, print out the window schedule, whatever's coming from the manufacturer, send it to the homeowner, have them sign it. Make sure that they understand these are the windows they are receiving. And again, some of this might be getting a little overboard, you know, and the reason why I'm saying that is that I rarely would do something like that with a window. The window specifications would be on the plans. I would sign my contract according to plans, specifications on the plans. This would cover all of the windows that were on the plans. So you don't, you know, if you feel like you need to, as a client, a consumer, or a contractor, you need all this information, get it. You know, because the more you can cover your bases, the more information you have, the less of a chance of having any type of a problem. And let's just say windows, for example. You have single pane windows, double pane, triple pane, insulated windows, windows with certain types of gases that provide insulation in them, windows with grids, windows without grids, windows with different grid shapes. There's a lot that could be involved in a simple order of windows. And if you're having one window installed and you have in your mind something else, and the contractor has in their mind something else, then you've got a problem. You know, if I as the contractor come up to you and say, hey, I'm going to install a white window, it's going to be aluminum, it's going to be sliding from right to left with no grids, a dual pane window. That's it. You say, yeah. Well, are you going to remember all that, everything I said? If it's written down on a piece of paper, you can always go back and check on it. If I just say something to you and then after the window arrives 4 weeks later, you say, well, you never said that. Yes, I did. Now you've got a problem. So I hope that makes sense. I could go on and on about this, but having everything down in writing is important. Now, I'm going to read you what I told the person, even though I might have already covered it. I don't know if this is the best advice, but it's the best advice I have. You have the money, and if you want your money, and if they want your money, they will need to provide you with the documents you're requesting. Now, this individual was also requesting copies of the contract or sections of it. They weren't going to give them. Why? Probably because they were in the wrong. Keep that in mind also. You need copies of everything before. Get it before the job starts. Not during, not 2 weeks into it. Don't let the contractor say, hey, give me a couple weeks. We'll start the job, but I'll give you a couple weeks. Then I'll get the contract signed. No, sign the contract before. Go over everything before they start the work, and that's critical. And again, you can actually, as a contractor, get advice from this video also. You just kind of reverse the situation. Let's face it, a contract is something signed between two people. The client and the contractor. It is legally binding. It's going to be difficult to get out of. Once you sign it, you're committed for the most part. Now, if there's something in there that you receive 2 weeks after the job starts that you don't like, you might have a problem on your hands. You agree to something verbally. That might not be a signed document, but you are committing now. You nod your head and you say yes. It might not be a legally binding thing, but if you have to go to court, you could have a problem with this, especially after you allowed them to start on the job. So I hope that makes sense also. There is no need for a meeting, and these documents can be mailed to you. This individual is also requesting a meeting with the contractor. Now, that's something else too that you need to understand. If you are requesting a meeting with someone and they have no interest in doing it, and you still have the money, don't worry about it. Don't be. If you have the money, you're in control. The minute you send them the money because they start sending you letters, they're threatening to put you, they're going to lien your property or do something like that, send them a letter back, fax it to them. If you have copies of all of that stuff, you send them certified letters, fax them, fax some copies, email them, keep records of all that. This is all stuff that will hold up in court. Don't let them intimidate you into paying you if the job isn't complete. Now, at the same time, don't hold your contractor hostage or hold their money if the job is complete, and you have everything in writing, but you think that your contractor said something they didn't. This could be a big problem. So again, it kind of goes back to fairness. And I've dealt with these problems in the past. I can't tell you how many problems I've dealt with it. I mean, I got my contractor's license when I was 25 years old. Trust me, I ran into a lot of problems that most people wouldn't have ran into, if they had a little more business experience. I didn't have. That's why I'm sharing this information with you as a homeowner and the contractor. Making your job easy as the homeowner is going to make the contractor's job easier also. Okay, so the meeting, there was no need for that. If you have a fax machine, fax them the request for information and then save copies for future records if necessary. If you need something a little more substantial or something that would stand up in court of law, send them a certified letter requesting the required documentation before payment. As long as you've been completely honest with me, this should get their attention and motivate them to take some type of action. Certified letters usually prompt anybody who knows anything about business or law to get moving on something like this. There could actually be interest payments involved if it's written in the contract for either the property owner or the client. I guess it wouldn't be for the client, but it could actually be for the property owner if they are holding funds from the contractor that should have been paid because the job actually was completed. Okay, I can't read you what the person said. I can read you what I said. I can't read you what they said. Like I said, I'm not going to. I'm not going to. If you send me something, I'm not going to share it with everybody, or I'm not going to share it with the people in public. I'm not going to share it with anybody, I guess, except for myself. Basically they were saying that they should have got written change orders, but they didn't. This is another problem that happens with contractors and clients. The client says, want something done. The contractor says, hey, that'll be $500. Go ahead and do it. Nothing's ever written down. Later on, you thought the guy said $400. I mean, seriously, this is a no-brainer if you understand all of the reasoning behind it. You know, if your contractor is going to do extra work, get a written change order. And I'm not suggesting that you need to get a written change order that minute, but have your contractor write something down on a piece of paper. Hey, okay, it's going to be this much money. I'll get you a change order in 2 days. I've got to get going on this. You know, it could be a critical change. It needs to be right now. So you can cut your contractor some slack. But hey, if you don't get that change order in 2 days as promised, tell your hey, I need this. You're not getting paid without it. Make sure that you have a note of, you know, that you let them know you're not going to be pushed around. And that's actually what this individual referred to. They said, you know what? All of these problems right here stemmed from them being too nice of a person. All of these problems came from that. They all came about from that. And I recognized that during the conversation. Now I realize this video is going a little too long. I don't want to make it too long. So just to sum up what happened to this individual, they didn't have a written contract right off the bat. They didn't have all of the information that the contractor was needed to provide them with. The contractor ended up they didn't do one part of the job, and he was asking me basically, should I do this, you know, and deduct it from the contract? Well, if it's in the contract, you should have it done by the contractor, because once you start deducting stuff from the, hey, I did this and I'm charging $100 an hour when the contractor only charges $15 an hour, this could be another problem. So you can't be too nice of a person, and that's what I would like to leave you with. You don't need to be a jackass, mind you. You don't need to be a kind of a dictator, arrogant, you know. I hated working with those people. But you should, and this is very important, you should get everything up front before the job starts in writing. Everything. Get that in writing, review it, and then sign the contract. Don't just go take the contractor's word for it or whoever's selling you the job. Hey, here's a bunch of paperwork, sign on the bottom line and you're done. Tell them to come back. If it's a big contract, you can't read it, you know, or you need some more time to read, tell them to come back the next day. Or have them send you a copy of the contract before you meet with them to sign it. It is not that difficult. Do not be a nice person. I mean, don't let them take advantage of you, because the minute, and this is just our human nature, it really has nothing to do with contractors. The minute other people, you know, kind of see you as a nice guy, nice gal, you know, real easygoing, you could actually be taken advantage of by the predator type of contractors, these guys that are going out there and looking for people like that. And trust me, again, I have worked with, I've worked for, and had them work for me. Plenty of contractors who had that predatory mindset, and it's almost like a wild animal. You've got to keep them in their cage. And the best way to keep them in their cage is by what? Into the video here, a written contract that you understand.